welcome back. It is so good to have you here again. The day is done, and it is time to let the noise and the hurry of your world fall away, like heavy stones dropped into a deep, silent pool of water. There is nothing left for you to do, nothing left to solve. The only task that remains is to rest and to allow your mind the quiet sanctuary it has earned. So find a comfortable position and let your body begin to settle. Let your shoulders soften and release their hold, and feel the weight of your head grow heavy as it finds its perfect place of rest. And as you settle in, take a slow, deep breath, pulling the air all the way down into your lungs, and as you exhale, release everything you have been carrying, all the thoughts, all the worries, all the lists. Let them go. They have no place here. For tonight, we are leaving this time and this place behind. Tonight, we travel back to a quiet corner of the English countryside. In the year 1870, the sun has long since set, and a gentle spring rain has begun to fall across the rolling green hills and ancient woodlands of the estate. It is not a storm, not a tempest, but a soft, persistent whisper of a rain, the kind that coaxes the new life from the soil and washes the world clean. You have just walked across the manicured lawn from the great house, the cool, damp air a refreshing kiss on your cheeks. The sound of your footsteps on the gravel path was a soft rhythmic crunch, a grounding percussion in the evening's quiet. And now you have arrived. Before you looms a magnificent structure, a cathedral of iron and glass, its vaulted ceilings and curved walls glowing with a warm, gentle light from within. This is the great conservatory, the heart of the estate's botanical collection, and your private sanctuary for the evening. You reach for the heavy, ornate iron door handle, its cool, smooth metal a solid presence in your hand. As you pull it open, the door swings inward with a deep, satisfying groan, and you are met with a wave of impossible warmth and humidity. It is a different world in here. The air is thick and heavy, laden with the sweet, intoxicating perfume of exotic orchids and the profound earthy scent of damp soil and decaying leaves. It is the smell of life itself, rich and primal. You step inside onto the stone flag floor and pull the heavy door closed behind you. The sound of it latching into place is a deep final thump, followed by a soft click of the mechanism. And just like that, the outside world is sealed away. The gentle chill of the spring evening is gone, replaced by a profound and enveloping warmth. The sound of the rain, once a soft whisper in the open air, is now transformed. Here, inside this glass bubble, it has become a symphony. Thousands upon thousands of raindrops are now drumming against the vast, curved glass roof above you, each tiny impact contributing to a single, immense, and continuous sound. It is a dense and textured blanket of white noise, a stereophonic shushing that wraps around you from all sides, insulating you, holding you. It is a sound that fills every corner of the immense space, yet it is utterly gentle, a cosmic lullaby played on an instrument the size of a building. This sound pushes away all other thoughts, its sheer, hypnotic persistence making it impossible to focus on anything but the present moment. Your mind, which a moment ago may have been racing, finds itself soothed, quieted by the immense gentle roar of the rain on the glass. The warmth in the air is not from a fire, but from something far more subtle. Beneath the stone floors and beds of rich earth, a network of hot water pipes circulates tirelessly, a modern marvel that creates a perpetual summer within these glass walls. You can feel the gentle, radiant heat rising up through the soles of your sturdy leather boots, a deep and comforting warmth that travels up into your legs, loosening your muscles, making you feel grounded and secure. You stand for a long moment just inside the door, allowing your senses to adjust to this verdant, humid haven. Your breathing has already slowed, deepening in response to the thick, oxygen-rich air. Your shoulders, which you thought were relaxed, drop another inch. You are safe here. You are alone. There is nothing to do but be. After a moment you begin to move, your steps unhurried, echoing softly on the stone walkway. You pass by towering ferns with fronds as wide as your arm span, and beneath the heavy waxy leaves of tropical palms that brush against the high glass ceiling. The air is so moist that tiny beads of condensation cling to the edges of the leaves, catching the lamplight like scattered jewels. You are wearing a simple, practical apron of thick, coarse canvas, tied securely around your waist. It feels familiar and comforting, a uniform for this quiet, meditative work. You make your way to the heart of the conservatory, where a long, heavy workbench stands waiting for you. It is a magnificent piece of furniture, crafted from a single massive slab of dark oak, its surface worn smooth by decades of use. It bears the scars and stains of its long life, rings from forgotten watering cans, dark patches from spilled soil, and countless nicks and scratches, each a ghost of a task completed long ago. This is your altar, your place of quiet communion with the green and growing things that fill this space. On the bench, everything is in its place. A neat row of terracotta pots, varying in size, their porous, earthy red, a warm contrast to the deep greens of the foliage around you. There are bags of soil mixtures, their tops rolled down, one of rich, dark loam, another of fibrous peat moss, a third containing small chunks of charcoal to keep the soil sweet. And beside them, your tools are laid out. A small, sturdy trowel with a polished wooden handle, a pair of thick leather gardening gloves, and a beautiful watering can made of pure, heavy copper, its surface glowing with a soft, rosy warmth in the lamplight. Tonight, your task is to repot several precious ferns that have grown too large for their current homes. It is a slow, deliberate process, a gentle ritual that requires patience and care. You pull on the leather gloves, the worn, supple material conforming to your hands like a second skin. The scent of the leather, warm and slightly smoky, rises to meet you as you flex your fingers. You select the first plant, a beautiful bird's nest fern. Its leaves are wide and bright green, unfurling from a central rosette in a shape that gives it its name. You can see the fine, dark roots pressing against the inside of its small clay pot, a clear sign that it is ready for a new home. You pick up a slightly larger terracotta pot from the row. It feels cool and substantial in your gloved hands, its weight reassuring. You turn it over and check the drainage hole at the bottom, ensuring it is clear. Everything must be just right. You place a few broken shards of an old pot over the hole, a simple ancient technique to ensure the soil does not wash out and the roots do not become waterlogged. The gentle clink of the ceramic shards dropping into the pot is a small sharp sound in the vast soft symphony of the rain. Now, for the soil. You open the bag of peat moss and loam, a blend you mixed yourself earlier in the day. The fragrance that escapes is one of the most comforting scents on earth. A smell of damp, rich soil, of life and decay, of the forest floor after a storm. It is a primal, grounding aroma that speaks directly to a deep and ancient part of your being. You take up the small iron trowel. Its handle is smooth and worn, shaped perfectly to the curve of your palm. You dip the trowel into the bag of soil, and the sound is a soft, satisfying shush. You lift a scoop of the dark, crumbly mixture. It is light and airy, threaded with the fine, fibrous strands of the moss. You bring the trowel over to the new pot and gently tip it, allowing the soil to fall. It does not crash or clump. It cascades, a soft, susurrus whisper, sss, as the loose earth fills the bottom of the pot. The sound is incredibly calming, a miniature muffled version of the rain falling on the roof. You add another scoop and another until you have a soft bed of fresh soil waiting for the fern. The next step requires delicacy. You place one hand over the top of the small pot containing the fern, your fingers gently supporting the base of the plant. With your other hand, you take hold of the pot and turn it upside down. A gentle squeeze, a soft tap on the bottom, and the plant slides free into your waiting hand. The root ball is a dense, intricate web of fine, dark threads, holding the shape of the old pot perfectly. The roots are healthy and strong, a testament to your care. You gently tease apart some of the roots at the bottom, just to encourage them to spread out into their new home. Then you lower the fern carefully into the center of the new, larger pot, holding it steady so that the top of the root ball is just below the rim. With the plant held in place with one hand, You use the trowel with the other to begin filling in the space around the root ball. Scoop after scoop, the soft, dark soil tumbles into the pot, another cascade of that wonderfully satisfying hushed sound. Shh, shh. The soil fills the gaps, surrounding the roots in a dark, nourishing embrace. You fill it almost to the top, the gentle rhythm of your movements becoming a form of meditation. The only sounds are the rain on the glass, the soft whisper of the soil, and your own slow, steady breathing. There is no need to rush. There is nowhere else you need to be. Once the pot is full, you set the trowel down on the oak bench with a soft wooden thud. Now you use your gloved fingers to gently but firmly press the soil down around the base of the plant. The pressure is even and slow, removing any air pockets and ensuring the fern is snug and secure in its new home. The leather of the gloves protects your hands, but you can still feel the soft, yielding texture of the soil beneath them. You work your way around the entire circumference of the pot, your movements practiced and sure. The plant now stands upright on its own, perfectly centered, its bright green leaves a vibrant splash of life against the earthy red of the pot and the dark, rich soil. You repeat this process with another fern, and then another, falling deeper into the gentle, rhythmic flow of the work. You do not need to think about the motions anymore. Your hands know exactly what to do. The selection of the pot, the clink of the drainage shards, the whisper of the falling soil, the careful transfer of the plant, the final firm pressure of your hands. Each step flows into the next in a seamless, unbroken dance. Your mind empties of everything but the task at hand. The world outside this glass bubble, the world of telegrams and timetables, of news and noise, ceases to exist entirely. There is only the warmth, the rain, the scent of earth and flowers, and the quiet satisfaction of nurturing life. Your body feels heavy and relaxed. Your movements fluid and graceful. A deep sense of peace settles over you, as profound and as steady as the rain itself. Finally, the last fern is settled into its new home. The row of freshly potted plants sits proudly on the bench, their leaves seeming to stand a little taller, a little brighter. Your work is almost done. All that remains is the final blessing, a drink of water. You reach for the copper watering can. It is heavier than it looks, and you lift it with both hands. The metal is cool to the touch at first, but it quickly absorbs the warmth of your skin. The spout is long and impossibly slender, designed to deliver water with pinpoint precision, right at the base of the plant, without disturbing the leaves or the soil. You tip the can forward, and a fine, silent stream of water emerges from the end of the spout. You guide it to the base of the first fern, moving in a slow circle around the stem. The water meets the dry, fresh soil and is instantly absorbed, turning the dark brown earth to a deep, satisfying black. There is almost no sound, just a faint, barely audible hiss as the thirsty soil drinks in the moisture. You give it a good long drink until you see a tiny trickle of water escape the drainage hole onto the tray beneath, a sign that the soil is perfectly saturated. Then you move to the leaves. You lift the can higher and tilt it more, allowing the water to sprinkle gently over the wide green fronds. The water is not a harsh spray, but a gentle shower, like the rain outside, only smaller, more personal. Droplets of water bead on the waxy surface of the leaves, catching the light and sparkling like tiny diamonds. They gather, grow heavy, and then trace slow, silvery paths down the veins of the leaves, dripping from the tips back onto the soil below. It is a beautiful miniature waterfall, a microcosm of the great rainstorm enveloping you. The soft pitter-pat of these tiny droplets falling from leaf to soil is the gentlest of lullabies. You water each of the new ferns in this same unhurried way, giving each one your full, undivided attention. The metallic scent of the wet copper mingles with the ever-present perfume of the damp earth, creating a complex and deeply comforting aroma. When the last plant has been watered, you place the heavy copper can back on the bench with a low, resonant thunk. The work is complete. You stand back, admiring the neat row of repotted ferns. A feeling of quiet accomplishment washes over you. You have created order, provided comfort, and nurtured life. It is a simple, honest task, and it has left you feeling centered and calm. You slowly pull off your leather gloves, finger by finger, and lay them on the bench. Your hands are warm and slightly damp, and you flex your fingers, feeling the blood returning to them. You unfasten the tie of your canvas apron and drape it over a hook on the side of the bench. Your work is done. Now, there is nothing left to do at all, but simply exist in this perfect, peaceful moment. You lean back against the solid, ancient oak of the workbench, the wood firm and supportive against your back. You cross your arms and let out a long, slow sigh, a breath you didn't even realize you were holding. And in the stillness that follows, the sounds and sensations of the conservatory deepen, becoming more vivid, more hypnotic. The rain on the glass is no longer just a background noise. It is the entire world. You can hear the different tones as it strikes the various panes, a slightly deeper drumming on the larger sheets of glass overhead, a lighter tapping on the vertical panes along the walls. You can hear the sound of it collecting in the iron gutters and trickling down the drain pipes, a liquid counterpoint to the steady percussive rhythm of the downpour. The sound is all-encompassing, a safe and constant cocoon of noise that muffles the silence and quiets the mind. It is a sound that says, rest, be still, you are sheltered. Your breathing has slowed to a deep, even rhythm, mirroring the steady pulse of the rain. With every slow inhale, you draw in the thick, humid air, fragrant with the sweet, almost spicy scent of the night-blooming orchids and the rich, loamy perfume of the freshly watered earth. With every long exhale, you feel another layer of tension dissolving from your body. The muscles in your neck and shoulders feel loose and heavy. The small muscles around your eyes soften. Your jaw unclenches. The warmth radiating up from the stone floor seems to seep into your very bones. A deep, pervasive heat that banishes any lingering chill and makes your limbs feel wonderfully heavy and lethargic. Your gaze drifts, unfocused, through the humid air. You watch the soft amber glow of the oil lamps create long dancing shadows that stretch and sway with the gentle movement of the palm fronds. The light catches the condensation on the glass, making the entire structure seem to shimmer, as if you are enclosed within a giant, softly glowing jewel. You notice a single perfect drop of water clinging to the tip of a fern leaf, swelling slowly, trembling for a moment before letting go, and falling with a soft pat to the soil below. Your focus narrows to this one, tiny event, and for a moment, it is the most important thing in the world. Its slow, inevitable journey is mesmerizing, a tiny drama of gravity and surface tension. Your eyelids are growing heavy now. The combination of the profound warmth, the hypnotic white noise of the rain, and the deep rhythmic breathing is an irresistible summons to sleep. The world of the conservatory begins to soften at the edges. The sharp outlines of the leaves blur into a deep velvety green. The individual points of light from the lamps merge into a warm, hazy glow. The sound of the rain seems to become one with the sound of the blood pulsing gently in your ears. A single, unified rhythm of rest. You are floating in a sea of warmth and sound, secure and utterly at peace. There is no past here and no future. There is only this endless, gentle now. The now of the rain drumming on the glass. The now of the warm, heavy air on your skin. The now of the sweet scent of orchids and damp earth filling your lungs. The world outside, with all its demands and complexities, feels a million miles away, a half-forgotten dream. Here, in this glass womb, under the watchful gaze of ancient plants, you are completely and totally safe. You can let go. You can release your final hold on wakefulness and allow yourself to drift. The sound of the rain becomes a soft, continuous hum, a deep and resonant frequency that vibrates through the very air, through the floor, through your body. It is the sound of the world sleeping. And as you listen, you feel yourself being drawn down into the deep, quiet darkness of true rest, down past thought, past memory, into a place of pure, dreamless peace. The rhythmic drumming on the roof is a steady hand, patting you gently on the back, lulling you, reassuring you. The warmth is a heavy blanket, tucking you in. The fragrant air is a final soothing kiss on the forehead. There is nothing left to hold on to. And as the rain continues its endless, soft lullaby on the glass above, you can finally let go completely, drifting now, sinking softly into a deep and profoundly peaceful sleep. The work is not yet finished. There is another pot to fill, another life to gently settle into its new home. You turn your attention back to the oaken workbench, its surface scarred and stained with the honest work of seasons past. A geography of water rings, soil smudges, and the faint dark lines of spilled potting tea. Before you sits another terracotta pot, slightly wider and deeper than the last, its colour a pale, dusty salmon, cool and porous to the touch. You run a gloved finger along its rim, feeling the slightly gritty, chalky texture of the fired earth. It feels ancient and steady and reliable, a good, solid foundation for what is to come. Your gaze drifts to the waiting mound of soil mixture you prepared earlier. It is not just dirt, but a carefully composed recipe, a feast for delicate roots. There is dark, crumbly loam, rich with the memory of fallen leaves and 1,000 seasons of decay. There is fibrous, light brown peat moss, its texture like shredded coconut, holding moisture like a sponge. You have mixed in handfuls of perlite, tiny white volcanic stones that look like petrified snowflakes, ensuring the soil will not become too dense, allowing the roots to breathe. And finally, a scattering of horticultural charcoal, small black nuggets that keep the soil sweet and clean. You plunge your gloved hands into the mound, just to feel the texture of it all. The coolness, the lightness, the soft crumble that gives way under your gentle pressure. The scent rises to meet you again, that profound, inimitable perfume of damp earth, the smell of life itself, of beginnings and transformations, of everything that is hidden and patient and waiting to grow. It is a deeply satisfying aroma, grounding you in this moment, in this place. Your breathing slows, deepening as you inhale that earthy fragrance. It is the scent of the world after a long, cleansing rain, the smell of a forest floor in the deep shade. It pushes away all other thoughts, leaving only the simple, profound reality of the task at hand. There is nothing else in the world right now but you, and the rain, and this quiet, patient work. You reach for the small iron trowel again, its handle worn smooth by your own grip. The wood feels warm now, having absorbed the heat from your hands. You slide the cool, curved blade into the pile of soil, and the sound is a soft, dry whisper, a shh, like turning the page of a very old, very heavy book. You lift the trowel, its small scoop laden with the dark, fragrant mixture, and you hold it poised for a moment over the empty terracotta pot. The rain seems to fall a little heavier on the glass above, its rhythm a steady, percussive accompaniment to your work. Then you tilt your wrist, and the soil tumbles downward. It is not a loud sound, but a soft, muffled cascade, a thump, hush, 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 as the mixture lands at the bottom of the pot, a dry, gentle waterfall of sustenance. You add another scoop, and another, building a soft, welcoming bed in the base of the pot. You do not measure, you simply know by feel, by instinct, how much is needed. You have done this 100 times before, 1,000 times. It is a ritual encoded in your hands, a slow and gentle dance of creation. Your shoulders, which may have been tight and drawn up towards your ears, begin to release. They drop, settling into a comfortable, easy posture as you lose yourself in the simple, repetitive motion. Scoop, lift, and release. The world outside this glass bubble, with its demands and its hurry, melts away. It cannot touch you here. Now, you turn to the fern that is waiting. It is a delicate thing, a maidenhair fern, its fronds a cascade of the most tender, vibrant green. The tiny fan-shaped leaves are arranged along fine, wiry stems, as black and glossy as polished jet. It sits in a small, cramped pot, its leaves spilling over the sides, yearning for more space. You place your hand gently over the soil at its base, your fingers spread to protect the delicate stems. With your other hand, you lift the small pot and turn it upside down. You give the bottom a few gentle, hollow-sounding taps. Thump, thump, thump. You can feel the slightest shift as the root ball begins to loosen its grip on the old container. You give the sides of the plastic pot a gentle squeeze, hearing the faint crinkle of the thin material. And then, with a soft, sliding sigh, the entire plant comes free, into your waiting hand. You turn it right side up and hold it before you, a perfect, intricate sculpture of life. The root ball is a tightly woven cylinder of soil and roots, a dense, fibrous map of its own history. Tiny, thread-like white roots cover the entire surface, a testament to its health and its desperate search for more room, more nourishment. It feels solid and surprisingly heavy in your palm. For a moment you just look at it, this perfect, self-contained world of roots and earth, and you feel a sense of quiet reverence for its resilience, its silent, determined will to live. With the fingers of your other hand you gently tease the bottom of the root ball, loosening the tightly wound roots just a little, encouraging them to spread out and explore their new home. The feeling is like carefully untangling a fine silken thread. You work slowly, patiently, careful not to tear a single one of the delicate white filaments. Then, with the utmost care, you lower the fern into the centre of its new, larger pot. It settles into the bed of soil you prepared with a soft, barely audible sigh. You hold the main stem with one hand to keep it perfectly upright, its lacy green fronds held aloft like a miniature canopy. Now, you begin to fill the space around it. Scoop by scoop, the trowel delivers the fresh, dark soil into the gap between the root ball and the terracotta wall. The sound is a gentle, rhythmic shush and thump, shush and thump. The soil falls around the roots, filling every void, a dark blanket tucking the plant securely into its new bed. With each scoop, the fern becomes more and more stable, more and more at home. You fill it until the soil is level with the base of the plant, just below the rim of the pot. You set the trowel aside on the workbench, its work for this plant now done. It makes a soft, woody clink as it comes to rest on the oak. Now comes the most tactile part of the process. You bring both of your gloved hands to the pot. Using your thumbs and fingertips, you begin to gently, methodically press down on the fresh soil. You work your way around the entire circumference of the pot, tamping the earth with a firm but gentle pressure. The sensation is deeply satisfying. You feel the soil give way slightly, and then become firm, compacting just enough to hold the fern securely in place, eliminating any air pockets that might harm the roots. The leather of your gloves makes a soft, creaking, scuffing sound against the soil and the inner rim of the pot. It is a quiet, intimate conversation between your hands and the earth. You can feel the life in the plant, the solidity of the pot, the promise held within the soil. Your mind is quiet, focused entirely on this one simple, meaningful action. When you are satisfied that the fern is secure, you brush a few stray crumbs of soil from the rim of the pot with the side of your gloved hand. The pot now looks complete, its surface a neat, dark circle of earth from which the vibrant green life of the fern emerges. It looks content. It looks as though it can finally breathe. The final act of welcome is to give it a drink. You reach for the watering can. It is a thing of beauty in its own right, crafted from pure, heavy copper. Over the years, it has developed a rich, complex patina, a swirling pattern of verdigris green, deep bronze, and dusky brown. It is heavy in your hand, filled with rainwater that you collected from the barrel just outside the conservatory door. The water is the same temperature as the air, ensuring no shock to the delicate roots. The can's most elegant feature is its long, slender, curving spout, which ends in a fine brass rose, perforated with dozens of tiny holes. You lift the heavy can, your other hand supporting its base. The weight feels good, substantial. You position the brass rose over the newly potted fern and tilt the can forward. For a moment, nothing happens, and then, with a soft, hissing sigh, the water begins to flow. It doesn't gush or pour, but emerges as 1,000 tiny, gentle droplets, a miniature rain shower created just for this one plant. The sound is one of the most soothing sounds imaginable, a soft, delicate hiss-patter-patter as the water lands upon the broad, fan-like leaves of the fern. You watch, mesmerized, as the droplets bead up on the waxy surface of the leaves, catching the dim grey light from the glass roof and shimmering like tiny silver jewels. They tremble there for a moment, and then, as more water falls, they merge and begin to trace silvery paths along the veins of the leaves. A droplet will run to the edge of a leaf, hang there for a split second, growing heavier and heavier, and then fall with a soft pat onto the soil below, or onto another leaf further down. It is a slow, gentle cascade, a perfect miniature echo of the rain falling on the roof above you. It is nature's own lullaby, a song of water and life. You move the spout in a slow circle, ensuring all of the soil is evenly moistened. You see the dark, rich colour of the earth deepen as it drinks in the water. The earthy smell intensifies, blooming in the warm, humid air, now mingled with the clean green scent of the watered fern. A deep sense of satisfaction, of rightness, settles over you. A good thing has been done here, a small, quiet act of care in a noisy world. You set the heavy copper can down on the floor beside the workbench with a low, solid thump. The sound echoes slightly in the vast, quiet space. The work is finished. You stand for a long moment, simply observing. The rain continues its endless, gentle drumming on the thousands of panes of glass that curve high above you. It is a constant, enveloping presence, a wall of soft white noise that insulates you from everything else. Inside this glass world it is warm and still, the air thick with humidity and the layered perfumes of living things. Slowly, you begin to undo the ties of your coarse canvas apron. The knot gives way, and you pull the loop over your head. You fold the apron, its fabric still holding the faint, dusty scent of soil, and you lay it on the corner of the workbench. Then you pull off your leather gloves, one finger at a time. The sound is a series of soft, leathery pulls and creaks. Your bare hands emerge into the warm, moist air. They feel sensitive, alive, tingling slightly after being enclosed in the leather. You run your palm over the rough, damp surface of the oak bench, feeling the grain of the wood, the coolness of a water spot. With your work complete, the focus of your attention begins to shift. It expands from the small, detailed world of the potting bench to the grand, peaceful space of the conservatory as a whole. Your actions become still, and your senses open up completely to the environment that surrounds you. You are no longer doing. You are simply being. Your gaze lifts to the great arching roof of glass and iron. The rain is a living texture upon it. You can see the individual drops as they land, creating tiny, fleeting splashes, ripples in the film of water that already coats the panes. You watch as these tiny impacts merge, forming rivulets that begin to zigzag their way down the curve of the glass, following invisible paths of least resistance. They look like silver threads, weaving a shimmering, ever-changing tapestry against the soft grey sky. The sound is immense, yet gentle. It is a million tiny liquid whispers, a percussive lullaby played on an instrument the size of a cathedral. It is a sound that has no beginning and no end, a sound that fills your ears and quiets your mind. Your own breathing, without any conscious effort, begins to fall into sync with the slow, steady rhythm of the falling rain. A long, slow inhale and a long, slow exhale, matching the endless pulse of the water on the glass. The light within the conservatory is soft and grey and deeply calming. It is a diffuse, shadowless light, filtered through the clouds and the rain-streaked glass. This gentle light makes the colours inside seem richer, deeper, more saturated. The greens of the plants are almost impossibly lush, from the deep, dark, glossy green of the camellia leaves to the bright, almost electric lime green of the new fern fronds, to the silvery green of the eucalyptus. And against this backdrop of 1,000 shades of green, the orchids in the far corner seem to glow with an inner luminescence. Their blossoms of deep magenta, startling white, and speckled yellow are like jewels suspended in the misty air. The air itself is something you can feel. It is heavy and wet and warm. You can feel the moisture on your skin, a soft, dewy caress. When you breathe in, the air feels thick and rich, full of the complex scents you have been working with. The dominant note is still that deep, honest smell of damp earth and peat, the foundation of everything here. But layered upon it are other, more subtle fragrances. There is the sharp, clean, green pepper scent that was released when you handled the fern stems. There is the faint, almost metallic tang of wet copper from the watering can. And weaving through it all is the high, sweet, intoxicating perfume of the blooming orchids a scent that speaks of faraway jungles and exotic warmth. Your eyelids begin to feel heavy, weighted down by the warmth and the humidity and the sheer sensory richness of this place. They feel like the broad, heavy leaves of the banana plants in the corner, laden with the moisture of the air. You let your gaze drift, unfocused, through the forest of plants. You see the intricate geometric patterns of a different fern, its fronds like perfect green snowflakes. You see the thick, waxy leaves of a ficus and the way condensation has gathered on their surfaces, forming perfect, spherical droplets along their edges. You see a spider's web strung between two enormous leaves, its silk made visible by the thousands of microscopic water droplets that have been captured upon it, turning it into a diamond necklace. There is no need to move. There is no need to do anything at all. Every muscle in your body seems to be letting go, releasing tensions you didn't even know you were holding. A profound stillness settles over you, a feeling of being utterly and completely at peace. Your body feels heavy and warm and secure, anchored to this spot by the gentle gravity of deep relaxation. The sound of the rain becomes a soft, continuous hum, a blanket of sound that wraps around you, holding you safely. The warmth from the underfloor heating radiates up through the soles of your shoes, a gentle, comforting heat that seems to seep into your very bones. Your mind, which was so focused on the task of potting, now begins to drift and float, as aimless and gentle as a leaf floating on a quiet pond. Thoughts may arise, but they are soft and distant, like the shapes of the trees outside, blurred and softened by the falling rain. You do not hold on to them. You let them drift by, acknowledging them and then letting them go, always returning your awareness to the simple, overwhelming peace of this moment. The sound of the rain, the warmth of the air, the smell of the earth, the sight of the green. There is only the soft percussive drumming on the glass and the gentle hiss of water running in channels down the panes. There is only the deep, verdant green of 1,000 leaves drinking in the grey light. There is only the warm, humid air, thick with the scent of soil and orchids and life itself. And there is the feeling of your own body, heavy and still and deeply relaxed, your breathing slow and even. Your eyelids closed now, seeing only the soft, dark, peaceful red of the light filtering through. And the rain continues to fall, a gentle, endless blessing on the glass house and on the quiet world within. And the warmth continues to rise from the floor, a steady, comforting presence. And the air remains still and fragrant and full of peace. There is nothing else now, nothing to do, nowhere to be. There is only the rain and the warmth and the green and the quiet. And so you rest, held safely in this moment, and drift into a deep and peaceful and well-deserved sleep. Deep, restful, and you continue your work, here in the deep and gentle quiet of your glass sanctuary, a world cocooned by the soft, percussive rhythm of the spring rain. The sound is a constant presence, a million tiny fingertips drumming upon the great curved panes of the roof, a sound so complete and all-encompassing that it ceases to be a sound at all, and becomes instead a form of silence, a thick, textured silence that wraps around you like the heaviest, softest blanket, muffling the world and cradling you in its steady, hypnotic pulse. The air inside this world of glass and green is warm and humid, rising from the heated flagstones beneath your feet, carrying with it the rich, dark perfume of damp earth, a scent as ancient and comforting as the rain itself. It mingles with the sweeter, more delicate fragrance of the orchids that bloom in extravagant clusters in the far corner, their waxy petals a splash of impossible colour in the grey watery light. You are standing before a long, heavy workbench, its oak surface scarred and stained by decades of good, honest work, a history written in water rings and soil smudges. A coarse canvas apron is tied around your waist, its familiar way to grounding presence, and your hands are protected by a pair of old, supple leather gloves, worn soft and smooth by countless hours spent tending to this green and growing world. Before you sits the task at hand, a simple meditative ritual that asks for nothing but your slow, focused attention. A row of terracotta pots, some empty and waiting, others holding the precious ferns that require your care. You reach for the first one, a magnificent specimen whose fronds arch outwards in a perfect symmetrical fountain of deep emerald green. The old pot is just a little too small now, its clay sides constricting the intricate network of roots that lie hidden beneath the soil. It is time to give it more room to breathe, more space to grow. Your gloved fingers gently circle the rim of the old pot, the clay cool and slightly rough against the worn leather. With your other hand, you support the base, feeling the dense weight of the soil and the plant within. You tip it slowly, carefully, letting gravity do most of the work, and with a gentle tap to the bottom of the pot, the entire root ball slides free, releasing a deep, earthy sigh of fragrance into the warm air. You hold it now in your cupped hands, a perfect, tightly woven cylinder of dark soil and even darker roots. The roots are a marvel, a tangled, intricate map of life, some thick and sturdy, others as fine as spun thread, all of it clinging together, holding the memory of the shape of its former home. There is no rush, no urgency here. There is only the rain on the glass, the warmth on your skin, and this quiet, focused moment of care. Your breathing slows, deepening, finding a rhythm that matches the gentle, persistent drumming of the rain overhead. Each drop that strikes the glass seems to wash away a layer of the outside world, leaving you more and more present, more and more peaceful, here in this sheltered haven. You set the liberated fern down with immense care upon a clean, damp piece of burlap, its roots protected from the air, its leaves resting softly against the rough fabric. Now, your attention turns to the new pot, a beautiful wide-mouthed vessel of pale, unglazed terracotta. It is much larger than the old one, promising ample space for the fern to stretch and expand. You pick it up, feeling its satisfying weight, its porous, sandy texture, a pleasing friction against the leather of your gloves. When you run a finger along its rim, it feels smooth and cool, and when you tap its side with your knuckle, it produces a low, resonant, hollow tone, a deep and earthy note that hangs in the humid air for a moment before being absorbed by the sound of the rain. At the bottom of the pot is a single circular hole for drainage, a small but vital detail. You reach into a nearby wooden box and retrieve a handful of broken pottery shards, their edges worn smooth by time and soil. You place them carefully over the hole, arranging them in a loose, curved layer, creating a small dome that will allow excess water to escape while keeping the precious soil from washing away. The sound of the ceramic pieces clinking gently against the inside of the pot is a small, satisfying music, a quiet counterpoint to the soft roar of the rain. With the drainage prepared, it is time for the soil. Beside you on the workbench is a large zinc-lined bin filled with your own special mixture, a dark, fragrant blend of rich loam, fibrous peat moss, and coarse sand. It is the perfect environment for a fern, a soil that holds moisture without becoming waterlogged, a foundation that is both nourishing and light. You take up a small iron trowel, its wooden handle worn smooth and dark with use, fitting perfectly into the palm of your hand. You dip the trowel into the bin, and it sinks into the soil with a soft, satisfying sigh. You lift a generous scoop, the earth dark and crumbly, clinging to itself, smelling of deep woods and clean decay, of life and renewal. You bring the trowel over to the new pot, and gently tip its contents inside. The soil tumbles down, landing on the pottery shards with a soft, muffled rushing sound. A sound like falling sand, a sound that is immensely calming, deeply reassuring. Shh. It is the sound of preparation, of creating a new home. You add another scoop, and another, the soft percussive whisper of the falling soil, a gentle rhythm in the quiet of the glasshouse. You are building a foundation, a soft bed for the roots to explore. With each scoop, your shoulders seem to drop a little further, your entire body relaxing into this slow, repetitive, and meaningful task. There are no thoughts of yesterday, no concerns for tomorrow. There is only the feel of the trowel in your hand, the earthy scent in the air, and the soft, susurrating sound of the soil filling the empty pot. You build up the soil until it forms a small mound in the center of the pot, a pedestal upon which the fern will rest. Then, you put the trowel aside, its job done for the moment, and you reach again for the fern itself, which has been waiting patiently on its burlap covering. You lift the intricate root ball, its weight familiar in your hands, and you position it carefully in the centre of the new pot, resting it atop the mound of fresh soil. You hold it there for a moment, making sure it is perfectly upright, its fronds arching gracefully, symmetrically, over the sides of the pot. It looks right, it feels right. A sense of quiet satisfaction settles over you, as deep and as peaceful as the rain-soaked landscape outside. Now begins the most delicate part of the process, filling the space around the roots without crushing them, securing the plant in its new home. You pick up the trowel once more, but this time you take smaller, more careful scoops of the soil mixture. You let the dark earth cascade gently from the edge of the trowel into the gap between the root ball and the side of the pot. The soft, whispering sound returns, a gentle, continuous pour that speaks of care and precision. You work your way slowly around the entire circumference of the pot, adding a little soil here, a little there, ensuring that every void is filled. The level of the dark earth rises slowly, gradually, covering the tangled web of roots, tucking the fern in, securing it, making it safe. As the soil level nears the top, you set the trowel down for the last time. The final step requires a more personal touch. You bring both of your gloved hands to the pot, and with your fingertips, you begin to gently, methodically, press the new soil down. You don't apply too much pressure, just enough to eliminate any hidden air pockets, and to give the roots a firm, reassuring contact with their new surroundings. The feel of the soil giving way slightly under your fingers is deeply satisfying. It is cool and yielding, yet solid and supportive. You can feel the fine, fibrous texture of the peat moss, the slight graininess of the sand, all of it coming together to create this perfect, life-giving medium. As you work your way around the pot, pressing and firming, your mind grows quieter and quieter. The repetitive motion is a kind of meditation, a physical mantra that stills the busy thoughts and anchors you completely in the present moment. The only sounds are the eternal drumming of the rain, the occasional soft rustle of your canvas apron, and the sound of your own slow, steady breathing, in and out, a rhythm of pure tranquility. Your eyelids feel heavy, your focus narrowing until the entire world consists of only your hands, the dark soil, and the vibrant green of the fern. You are a part of this process, a quiet custodian in this temple of growing things. The fern is now perfectly settled, secure in its spacious new home, the dark, rich soil smoothed and leveled just below the terracotta rim. The first part of your task is complete. A faint sheen of moisture has bloomed on your forehead from the humid warmth of the glasshouse, and you pause for a moment, simply observing your work. The deep, vital green of the fern's fronds seems even more vibrant now, against the pale orange of the new pot and the dark, almost black surface of the fresh soil. It looks healthy, it looks happy, and a sense of deep, quiet contentment fills you, a warmth that has nothing to do with the heated floors, and everything to do with this simple act of nurturing. You look at your gloves, dusted with dark soil, the leather creased around your knuckles. You look at the workbench, at the satisfyingly ordered mess of your work, the empty old pot, the scattered shards, the trowel resting beside the bin of earth. Everything is as it should be. Everything is peaceful. The rain continues its endless, gentle assault on the glass above, a constant lullaby that insulates you from everything else, creating a pocket of time where only this slow, gentle reality exists. You feel your body swaying just slightly, a gentle, unconscious motion, as if you are being rocked by the sound of the rain, rocked into a state of profound calm. Now, for the final finishing touch, the blessing of water. You turn from the workbench and walk a few paces to a large, lead-lined basin where you keep fresh rainwater for your most delicate plants. Next to it rests a magnificent watering can, crafted from pure, heavy copper. You lift it, and its weight is substantial, its handle cool and solid in your grasp. The copper has aged to a beautiful, complex patina of verdigris green and warm, rosy brown, but the long, slender spout still gleams with a soft metallic light, even in the dim, grey afternoon. You dip the can into the basin, and it fills with a deep gurgling sound the water cool and clear. As you lift it out, now heavy with its life-giving cargo, a few drops spill over the side, landing on the stone flags with a soft, dark splash. You carry it back to the workbench, your steps slow and deliberate, the weight of the can a grounding force. You position yourself before the newly potted fern, and you raise the copper can, aiming the tip of its impossibly long, thin spout directly at the base of the plant. You tilt your wrist just so, a practiced, gentle motion, and a silent, perfect stream of water begins to flow. It is not a gush or a pour, but a delicate, controlled cascade, a silvery thread connecting the copper spout to the dark soil. The water touches the earth with a barely audible whisper, a sound even softer than the falling soil. You watch, utterly captivated, as the point of impact immediately darkens, the water vanishing into the thirsty medium. You move the spout in a slow, patient circle around the base of the fern, ensuring that the entire surface of the soil receives an even drink. The dark, damp circle expands outwards, the water sinking deep, deep down towards the waiting roots. The rich, earthy smell intensifies, blooming in the humid air, a primal perfume of petrichor and growth. As the soil becomes saturated, the water begins to pool for just a moment on the surface, a shimmering quicksilver mirror reflecting the grey light of the glass roof, before it too is drawn down into the depths. You continue this slow circular baptism until you sense that the soil has drunk its fill. Then you tilt the can back, and the flow of water ceases as silently as it began. You set the heavy copper can down on the flagstones with a soft, solid thud. Your work is done. The fern is repotted, settled, and watered. It is safe, it is cared for, and now there is nothing left to do but watch, nothing left to do but be still. The descending arc of your evening continues its slow, gentle curve towards perfect stillness, towards deep and restful peace. You remain standing before the bench, your hands resting lightly on its worn wooden edge. Your gaze is fixed on the watered fern. You watch as a single stray drop of water, which had landed on one of the broad green fronds, begins a slow, mesmerizing journey. It clings to the leaf, a perfect trembling sphere, holding the entire grey-lit world of the glasshouse in its tiny curved surface. For a long moment, it remains perfectly still, defying gravity. Then, with an infinitesimal shift, it begins to slide, tracing the central vein of the frond like a tiny crystal bead following a map. It moves with an impossible slowness, its progress almost imperceptible, leaving a faint, dark, wet trail in its wake. You watch its journey, your breathing so slow and shallow. Now you are barely aware of it. The world has shrunk to the size of this single drop of water on this single green leaf. Nothing else matters. The drop reaches the serrated edge of the frond, and it pauses there, swelling, hesitating on the precipice. It trembles, hanging there for a heartbeat. 2 heartbeats, and then it lets go. It falls, a silent, tiny plummet through the warm air, landing with a soft, dark kiss upon the soil below, where it vanishes instantly, rejoining the whole. And, with its disappearance, a wave of profound relaxation washes over you, from the crown of your head, down through your neck and shoulders, all the way to the soles of your feet. A tension you were not even aware you were holding has been released, falling away from you just as that drop of water fell from the leaf. Your eyes drift from the fern to the glass panes of the conservatory walls, just beyond the rows of exotic plants. The rain has streaked the glass, blurring the world outside into an impressionist painting of soft greens and muted greys. You can see the indistinct shapes of the great oak trees on the lawn, their branches swaying gently in the breeze, their forms softened and made dreamlike by the curtain of water. Droplets chase each other down the glass, merging and separating, drawing winding, unpredictable paths, each one a silent, fleeting story. Watching them is deeply hypnotic. There is no pattern, no logic, just a gentle, endless, downward motion. A slow, steady, constant release. Your mind follows them, letting go of thoughts, letting go of plans, letting go of everything but this moment of pure sensory observation. The sound of the rain seems to grow softer now, Or perhaps you're simply sinking deeper into its embrace, its rhythm becoming a part of your own internal rhythm. It is the sound of the world being washed clean. It is the sound of sleep. Your body feels heavy and warm, anchored to this spot by a pleasant, comfortable lethargy. The idea of moving seems distant, unnecessary. It is so peaceful here, so safe. Wrapped in the warm, humid air, surrounded by living, breathing green, and serenaded by the soft, drumming lullaby of the rain on the roof. You notice the way the dim, silvery light catches the edge of a particular leaf, making its fine, downy hairs glow with a faint halo. You notice the shadow cast by a hanging basket, a dark, intricate shape that sways ever so slightly on the stone floor. You notice the subtle shift in the fragrance of the air as a breeze, stirred by your own earlier movements, brings a new wave of the sweet, heady scent of the blooming orchids from the far corner of the glasshouse. It is a scent that speaks of distant, tropical lands, of warmth and deep, luxurious colour, a perfect counterpoint to the clean, earthy smell of the soil and the rain. Your senses are alive, yet your body is deeply, profoundly at rest. It is a state of perfect equilibrium, a gentle floating in a sea of calm sensation. The world outside this glass bubble, with all its noise and hurry, feels a million miles away, a half-remembered dream from another lifetime. Here, time is measured not by the ticking of a clock, but by the slow unfurling of a new leaf, by the patient journey of a drop of water, by the gradual deepening of the evening light as the afternoon begins its slow fade towards dusk. You feel your own internal clock slowing to match this natural, unhurried pace. Your heart beats a slow, steady, quiet rhythm against your ribs. Your breath flows in and out, a gentle tide of air, each exhalation carrying away another layer of wakefulness, leaving you softer, heavier, and more deeply relaxed than before. You are here, you are safe, and you are ready, so very ready, for rest. The rain continues to fall, a promise of renewal, a blanket of sound, tucking you in, and lulling you down, 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 into a place of deep and dreamless peace. The fine, almost silent stream of water arcs from the long, slender spout of your copper watering can, a liquid thread of silver in the grey afternoon light. You hold the can steady, your grip firm but relaxed on the worn handle, its brassy curve cool against the warm leather of your glove. The water falls with a sound so soft it is almost swallowed by the greater music of the rain on the glass roof above, a delicate hush as it meets the broad, waxy green leaf of the fern. You watch, mesmerized, as the water does not splash, but rather lands and clings, spreading for a moment into a shimmering, amoebic jewel upon the vibrant surface. The leaf, a perfect specimen of asplenium, dips ever so slightly under the minuscule weight, a slow, graceful bow of acceptance. Then, compelled by gravity and the intricate map of veins etched into its surface, the water begins to move. It gathers itself from a flat, glistening film into a single, perfect globule, a tiny world reflecting the entire vaulted ceiling of the glass house in its convex surface. It slides, slowly at first, then with gathering momentum down the central spine of the leaf. It is a silent, liquid journey through a miniature green landscape, tracing a path that seems preordained. It reaches the serrated edge of the frond, and for a long, suspended moment, it hangs there, trembling, stretching the surface tension to its absolute limit, the light within it fracturing into 1,000 tiny rainbows. And then, with a final soft release, it lets go, falling the last inch to the soil below. It lands with a barely audible pff, a sound of utter absorption, leaving behind a dark, damp circle on the rich, peaty earth. You repeat this gentle ritual for each of the newly settled ferns, a slow and patient baptism for their new homes, a stream of water for the delicate maidenhair, its tiny leaves shivering as the droplets kiss them, a soft shower for the robust heart's tongue, its undivided fronds looking like glossy green ribbons. With each offering of water, the air around the terracotta pots seems to release a fresh sigh of gratitude, a deep, earthy perfume that rises to meet the sweeter, more exotic scent of the orchids blooming further down the aisle. It is the smell of life, of damp soil, of roots drinking deeply in the dark, It is a scent that speaks of patience, of quiet growth, of things happening slowly and correctly, far from the hurried pace of the world outside. When the last fern is watered, you lower the copper can, its weight now pleasantly diminished. You set it down on the damp flagstones of the floor, and the soft, resonant clonk of the metal against the stone is a sound of finality, of a good task brought to a gentle close. For a moment, you simply stand, your hands resting on the edge of the old oak workbench, and you breathe. You breathe in the thick, humid air, a veritable cocktail of fragrances, the sharp, clean scent of the rain, the deep, loamy smell of the soil, the heady, almost decadent perfume of the Cattleya orchids, and the faint, metallic tang of the hot water pipes running beneath the floor. It is the atmosphere of a world within a world, a self-contained paradise of warmth and growth. And as you breathe it in, you can feel it settling, not just in your lungs, but deep within your very being. A slow, creeping sense of peace begins to saturate you, as thoroughly as the water saturated the soil. Your shoulders, which you hadn't even realized were held with a slight tension, begin to drop. A long, slow sigh escapes your lips, a sound of pure, unadulterated contentment that dissolves into the humid air. The constant percussive hum of the rain on the thousands of glass panes above seems to work its way inside you, washing away the last lingering thoughts of the day, of duties, of time. There is only the here and now. There is only this warm, green, and watery sanctuary. Your gaze drifts across the surface of the workbench. It is a landscape in itself, a testament to years, perhaps decades, of quiet, focused work. The oak is dark and stained with water rings and soil smudges. Scratches and nicks from trowels and the sharp edges of pots have created a unique topography, a history written in scars. You reach for a soft linen cloth, folded neatly at the end of the bench. It is old and worn thin in places, but perfectly soft and absorbent. You unfold it and begin to wipe down the wooden surface. The motion is slow, circular, and rhythmic. The damp cloth glides over the wood, picking up the stray crumbs of soil and peat moss. As you wipe, the true colour of the oak deepens, the grain emerging like a hidden pattern revealed by the moisture. The scent of damp wood and a faint, lingering trace of beeswax polish from a long-ago cleaning rises up to greet you. There is no rush to this task. Each slow, sweeping motion of your arm is a meditation. The soft swish of the cloth on the wood joins the chorus of the rain, a softer, closer harmony in the grand symphony of the glasshouse. You are not just cleaning a table, you are tending to your sanctuary, smoothing away the gentle disarray of creation, restoring a sense of calm order. You gather the scattered remnants of soil into a small pile with the edge of the cloth, and then brush them carefully into the palm of your gloved hand, to be returned to the main soil bin later. You wipe down your small iron trowel, its blade cool and smooth against the fabric. You can see your own distorted, blurry reflection in its polished surface for a moment, a fleeting ghost in the metal. You place it carefully onto a designated hook on the wall behind the bench, where it hangs alongside other specialized tools, each one waiting patiently for its purpose. Next, you turn your attention to your hands. You pull at the fingers of the right-hand glove, the worn leather resisting for a moment before yielding with a soft sighing sound. You peel it off, and the feeling is one of wonderful release. Your skin, which has been encased in the warm, slightly humid environment of the glove, now meets the cooler, ambient air of the glasshouse. It is a subtle but deeply pleasant sensation, a tingling awakening of the nerves. You repeat the process with the left glove, and as you pull it free, the scent of the leather itself, a rich, earthy, animalic smell, is strong for a moment before it dissipates. You place the gloves together, palm to palm, and set them beside the folded cloth. Your bare hands feel light and sensitive now. You can feel the texture of the air, the heavy humidity on your skin. You run a finger over the smooth, cool rim of a terracotta pot, feeling the fine, gritty texture of the fired clay. With the workbench cleared and your tools put away, the active part of your time here is over. There is nothing left to do, nothing to fix, nothing to plant, nothing to tend. And in this release from purpose, a deeper sense of peace begins to settle over you. You are no longer a gardener, You are simply a presence, a quiet observer in this cathedral of glass and life. You turn away from the bench and let your gaze wander, truly taking in the vastness of the space around you. This is no mere conservatory. It is a crystal palace in miniature, a monument to the Victorian obsession with collecting and mastering nature. Great, arching ribs of iron, painted a deep and solemn Brunswick green, soar upwards to form the vaulted ceiling high above your head. The paint is peeling in a few places, revealing a hint of rust beneath, a reminder that even this iron fortress is subject to the slow, inexorable passage of time. Condensation has formed on the cold metal, and you watch as a single heavy drop gathers on the curve of a strut, hangs for an impossibly long time, and then falls with a fat, resonant plink onto the broad leaf of a banana palm far below. The rain continues its endless, gentle assault on the glass. It is a sound that has become the very texture of the silence, a constant that makes the stillness within the glasshouse feel even more profound. It is not one sound, you realize, but a complex orchestration. There is the soft, almost fuzzy pitter-patter on the thousands of panes directly above you, a dense and constant drumming that creates a feeling of being completely and safely enclosed. Then there is the slightly sharper, more metallic tink-tink-tink, where the drops strike the iron framework. And underneath it all, a lower, more liquid sound, the gurgling and rushing of water collecting in the gutters and running down the pipes at the corners of the structure. It is a complete and total immersion in the sound of water, a cocoon of white noise that wraps around you, muffling the outside world until it ceases to exist entirely. You look through the walls of glass, through the sheets of running water that distort the view. The formal gardens outside are reduced to a watercolour painting left out in a shower. The sharp edges of the box hedges have softened into blurry green mounds. The vibrant colours of the tulip beds have bled into impressionistic smudges of red and yellow. The ancient oak tree at the far end of the lawn is a great, grey-green phantom, its branches shifting and swaying in a wind you cannot feel and a storm you cannot hear. You are utterly separate from it, a viewer in a silent theatre, watching the weather perform its drama behind a screen of water and glass. And this separation feels like the most profound form of safety. The wind cannot touch you, the chill cannot reach you. You are here, in the perpetual gentle summer of the glasshouse. Your feet, guided by a languid, unthinking impulse, begin to move. You walk slowly down the central aisle, your soft-soled shoes making almost no sound on the warm stone flags. The underfloor heating, a marvel of modern engineering, sends a gentle, radiant warmth up through the soles of your feet, a comforting heat that seems to travel up through your legs and settle deep in your bones. You drift past rows and rows of silent living things, towering tree ferns, their fronds so large they create a canopy beneath the glass canopy, filtering the already dim light into a dappled, mysterious gloom. You pass the orchid collection, a display of almost scandalous beauty. You pause to look at a paphiopedilum, a slipper orchid, its pouch-like petal a deep, velvety burgundy, veined with an even darker maroon. It looks less like a flower and more like a strange, exotic sea creature, its waxy, mottled leaves spreading out at its base. Its fragrance is heavy and sweet, a thick, syrupy perfume that hangs motionless in the humid air. You trail your fingers gently over the furry stem of a begonia, its leaves shaped like angel wings, splattered with silver as if a careless artist had flicked their brush nearby. You notice the moss, a vibrant electric green, that has begun to colonize the damp sides of the older terracotta pots, creating a soft velvet coat on the hard clay. Everywhere you look, there is life, texture, and the slow, silent evidence of growth. This place is a library of living things, each plant a volume of natural history, and you are its sole privileged reader this afternoon. As you walk, your breathing continues to slow and deepen. Each inhalation is long and full, drawing the warm, oxygen-rich air deep into your lungs. Each exhalation is a quiet release, a letting go of one more layer of thought, one more whisper of worry. The rhythm of your breathing is beginning to synchronize with the gentle pulse of the rain, a slow, steady, and deeply calming cadence. Your eyelids feel heavy, weighted down by the tranquility of the air, by the sheer peacefulness of the scene. It feels as if the very atmosphere is a gentle pressure urging you toward rest, toward stillness. You find a simple iron bench, its design mimicking the curve of a fern frond, tucked away in a secluded alcove behind a thicket of Kentia palms. It is painted the same dark green as the building's frame, and a fine layer of condensation makes its surface gleam in the soft light. It looks cool and inviting. With a sense of coming home, you sink down onto the bench. The iron is cool at first, a pleasant contrast to the warmth of the air, but it quickly begins to absorb the heat from your body. You lean back, and the curved backrest supports you perfectly. From this new, lower vantage point, the glasshouse transforms. You are no longer looking down upon the plants, but are now sitting amongst them, part of their world. You are looking up through a dense lattice of overlapping leaves and fronds, light and shadow playing complex, ever-shifting patterns. A large palm frond hangs directly over you, its individual leaflets creating a delicate filigreed screen between you and the glass roof. The sound of the rain is different from here, more muffled, more distant, filtered through the layers of foliage. You are completely hidden from the central aisle, cocooned in your own private, green chamber. The world has shrunk to this small, sheltered space. Your world is the dark, damp earth at your feet, the intricate patterns on the leaves around you, the warm, heavy air on your skin, and the ceaseless, gentle drumming of the rain. A profound stillness settles over you, a stillness that goes beyond the mere cessation of movement. It is a stillness of the mind, a quietening of the inner voice. Your thoughts, which were already fading, now begin to dissolve completely, like sugar in warm water. They lose their shape, their urgency, their meaning. All that remains is sensation. The feeling of the warm floor beneath your feet, the coolness of the iron bench against your back, the weight of your own body, feeling heavy and deeply, deeply relaxed, the scent of orchids and damp earth, and above all, the sound. The sound of the rain, a sound that has been the backdrop to this entire experience, now comes to the forefront. It is a soft, grey, featureless wall of sound, a sound that asks nothing of you, a sound that promises nothing but its own continuation. It is the perfect lullaby. Your eyes, which have been half closed, now drift fully shut. You do not try to keep them open. It feels like the most natural thing in the world to let them close, to surrender to the darkness behind your eyelids. But even with your eyes closed, the glasshouse remains. You can still see the green light filtering through the leaves. You can still feel the vast vaulted space around you. You can still hear the million tiny hammers of the rain on the glass, a sound that is no longer outside you, but seems to be emanating from the very centre of your own peaceful mind. You are not in the glasshouse anymore. The glasshouse is in you. And here, in this warm, green and rainy stillness, you feel your consciousness begin to drift, to float, to dissolve into the deep and waiting quiet. The gentle rhythm of the rain is the rhythm of your own slowing heart, beating a soft, steady path towards the wonderful, welcoming oblivion of sleep. The burnished copper of the watering can feels cool and solid in your hands, a pleasant, grounding weight that seems to anchor you to this quiet moment. You have filled it from the large oak barrel in the corner, where rainwater from the roof is collected, and the water within is soft and pure, the perfect offering for these delicate children of the forest floor. Tilting the can, you guide the impossibly long and slender spout over the fronds of the final fern, the one you have just settled into its new home of dark, fragrant earth. The water begins its journey, a silent, silver thread emerging from the copper opening, catching the diffused grey light of the afternoon as it arcs gracefully downwards. It meets the first broadleaf not with a splash, but with a soft, almost inaudible patter, a sound you feel more than you hear. The droplet does not shatter, but holds its perfect convex shape for a moment, a tiny liquid jewel, trembling on a field of emerald velvet. Then, compelled by its own weight, it begins to roll, a slow and meandering journey, tracing the intricate branching network of veins that crisscross the leaf surface. It merges with another droplet, and then another, growing into a larger, shimmering bead of water that navigates the gentle slopes and valleys of the frond. You watch its unhurried pilgrimage, a miniature world of physics and beauty playing out just for you, until it reaches the serrated tip of the leaf. There, it pauses, clinging with a surface tension that seems almost reluctant, swelling and elongating, reflecting a distorted, upside-down image of the glasshouse around you. For a heartbeat, it hangs suspended between leaf and air, a perfect, silent pendulum. And then it lets go. It falls the last few inches without a sound, landing with a soft, dark kiss upon the freshly tamped soil, disappearing instantly into the thirsty peat and moss. Its journey complete. You continue to pour a slow and steady stream, letting the water whisper across the many leaves, each drop following its own unique path, 1,000 tiny separate lullabies for the roots below. You see the soil darken as it drinks, the rich blacks and browns deepening with moisture. The earthy scent, the petrichor of this miniature indoor world, rises to meet you, intensified by the water, a fragrance of ancient forests, of damp stone, and of life itself. You don't rush this process. There is no need. The rain outside keeps its steady, gentle rhythm, and the world of clocks and calendars has dissolved into the soft grey light filtering through the glass. You are simply here, a quiet custodian, performing a slow and sacred rite of care. When the soil is evenly damp, its surface gleaming like dark silk, you slowly lower the watering can, its purpose fulfilled. The silence that follows the cessation of the water's whisper is profound, filled only by the constant soothing static of the rain on the roof. Your work is done. The last fern is settled. You take a moment to survey the row of terracotta pots on the heavy oak workbench. They look content, secure, their green plumage vibrant against the warm, earthy red of the clay. A fine dusting of dark soil has scattered across the bench during your work, a testament to your gentle labour. You reach for a small, stiff-bristled brush with a smooth, worn wooden handle. Slowly, methodically, you begin to sweep the stray soil from the surface of the oak. The bristles make a soft, dry, shushing sound against the wood, a gentle sweeping away of the remnants of your task. You guide the dark crumbs of earth into the palm of your gloved hand, the fine grit a pleasing texture against the worn leather. Each stroke of the brush is deliberate, unhurried, a tidying not just of the bench, but of the mind. There are no stray thoughts now, only the soft sound of the bristles, the sight of the clean wood grain re-emerging, and the feeling of the collected soil, cool and fine, in your hand. You turn and let the soil fall back into the large bag of potting mixture, a quiet rustle as it rejoins the hole. You pull the leather gloves from your hands, finger by finger, the soft material making a gentle creaking protest. The air, warm and humid, immediately envelops your bare skin, a stark contrast to the close, protective sheath of the leather. You lay the gloves beside the brush, their empty shapes still holding the curve of your hands. Finally, you wipe your palms on the coarse canvas of your apron, a rough, satisfying friction that brushes away the last phantom sensations of soil and leather. All is still. The tools are at rest, the plants are settled, the bench is clear. A deep and profound sense of completion settles over you, a quiet joy in a task well and mindfully done. Your shoulders, which you hadn't even realized were held with a slight tension, begin to drop. Your posture softens. You turn away from the workbench, your gaze sweeping across the vast green interior of the glasshouse. It is a world unto itself, a captured piece of a warmer, more verdant climate, thriving under its dome of glass, while the English spring performs its gentle ablutions outside. Your eyes find a simple bench of cast iron, painted a deep forest green, tucked away between a towering Kentia palm and a thicket of bamboo whose slender stalks nod almost imperceptibly. It looks as though it has been there for decades, its paint slightly faded, its form a part of the landscape of the greenhouse itself. You walk towards it, your footsteps silent on the damp stone flags of the walkway. You sit down, and the cold of the iron seeps through your clothes for just a moment, a brief, surprising chill that is quickly overcome by the ambient, radiant warmth of the air. You lean back against the ornate, swirling pattern of the bench's backrest, the cool metal a firm and steady support. And you let go. You let go of the doing, and you surrender completely to the being. There is nothing left on your list, no one to answer to, no place you need to be. There is only this place, this moment, this sound, this warmth. Your breathing, which had been steady, now begins to deepen, to slow, finding a new, more profound rhythm that seems to instinctively match the unhurried cadence of the world around you. You inhale the thick, sweet air, and you exhale all that remains of the world outside, watching it dissolve into the humid atmosphere. And you listen. You truly listen, perhaps for the first time today, with your entire being. The rain, which has been a constant background hum, now comes into focus, revealing itself not as a single sound, but as a complex and layered symphony. There are thousands upon thousands of tiny, individual notes, the sound of each droplet striking the glass panes above you. It is a sound so dense, so continuous, that it merges into a single cohesive blanket of white noise. It is the sound of isolation, the sound of safety, a gentle but impenetrable barrier between you and everything else. It wraps around the glasshouse, cocooning you within its gentle percussive embrace. You can hear the subtle variations in its tone. On the highest, most curved part of the roof directly above, the drops create a finer, higher-pitched tapping, a delicate drumming on a vast, tight skin of glass. But on the lower, more slanted panes to your side, the sound is deeper, more resonant, a softer and more mellow patter. You can discern the sound of the water as it is channeled, gathering in the iron gutters that line the eaves, a liquid, gurgling sound that speaks of flow and release. Here and there, a gutter has overflowed, and you can hear the heavier, more deliberate splash as water falls a greater distance to the stone path outside, a steady, rhythmic bass note in the grand composition. This symphony of water is constant, yet ever-changing. It swells and softens, a great gentle lung breathing all around you, and with each exhalation you feel your own body relax further, your own mind grow quieter. Beneath the symphony of the rain you become aware of another, more fundamental sensation, the warmth. It is a deep, pervasive warmth that seems to emanate from the very floor beneath your feet. The underfloor heating, a marvel of Victorian engineering, fed by a distant boiler, keeps this fragile ecosystem in a state of perpetual summer. It is not an aggressive dry heat, but a gentle, humid warmth that rises slowly, invisibly, filling every corner of the vast space. You feel it on the bare skin of your hands and face, a soft tropical caress. You feel it seeping through the soles of your shoes, a comforting heat that travels up through your feet and into your legs, unknotting muscles you did not know were tense. It is the warmth of the womb, a profound and unconditional comfort. It is the feeling of being held, of being utterly safe from the cool, damp world that you can see but not feel beyond the glass. Your eyelids feel the warmth and grow heavy, so very heavy, as if tiny, smooth stones have been placed upon them, urging them downward, downward, into rest. And with the warmth and the sound comes the scent. The air is thick with the perfumes of the earth, a rich and complex potpourri that you breathe in with every slow, deep lungful of air. The dominant note is that of petrichor and damp soil, the fundamental fragrance of life and decay, of beginnings and endings. It is a clean, honest smell, grounding and ancient. But woven through it are the more delicate and exotic threads of the blossoms. From a far corner, the orchids release their famously complex perfume, a scent that is at once sweet and spicy, with hints of vanilla and citrus, a sophisticated and almost impossibly beautiful fragrance that hangs heavy in the humid air. Closer to your bench, a collection of scented geraniums adds its own chorus. You can distinguish the sharp, rosy scent of one, the lemony tang of another, and the deep, minty notes of a third. As you sit in stillness, you imagine you can even smell the green living scent of chlorophyll itself, the quiet, tireless work of photosynthesis happening in the millions of leaves all around you. Each breath is an indulgence, a deep draught of this intoxicating living air, and with each breath your mind becomes clearer, simpler, washed clean of everything but these pure sensory truths. Your gaze, soft and unfocused, drifts through the green labyrinth. The light in the glasshouse is magical. The grey overcast sky outside acts as a giant softbox, diffusing the daylight, stripping it of all harshness. This soft, even light makes the colours within the greenhouse seem supernaturally vibrant. The countless shades of green, from the pale, almost yellow of new shoots to the deep blue-green of the mature palm fronds, all glow with an inner luminescence. The shocking pinks and purples of the fuchsia blossoms, the fiery oranges of the clivia, the pristine whites of the gardenias, they all seem to pulse with colour against the muted backdrop of the rain-streaked glass. The world outside is blurred, indistinct. The great oaks on the lawn, the distant stone wall of the kitchen garden, are all reduced to soft, impressionistic shapes, their details washed away by the sheets of rain and the fine mist of condensation that has begun to form on the inside of the panes. You focus on a single pane of glass near you. You watch as the warm, moist air inside meets the cool surface of the glass, and at an invisible, microscopic level, the water in the air surrenders its energy and transforms, beading into a fine, silvery mist. You watch as these tiny droplets begin to merge, drawn together by an undeniable attraction, forming larger, heavier drops. One of these drops, near the top of the pane, begins to move. It slides downwards, slowly at first, then gathering speed, carving a clear serpentine path through the delicate fog on the glass. It is a tiny temporary river, and you follow its entire journey with your eyes until it reaches the wooden frame at the bottom of the pane and is absorbed into the damp sill. The outside world, once a complete blur, is now bisected by this one clear wet line, a momentary window within a window. And then, slowly, the mist begins to reclaim the path, the edges softening, blurring, until the line is gone and the glass is once again an opaque screen of silver. There is a universe of gentle activity in that single pane of glass, a slow, quiet drama that asks nothing of you but your peaceful observation. A profound stillness has settled deep within you. The gentle, repetitive motions of your work, followed by this period of complete sensory immersion, have emptied your mind. It is as if the constant, gentle drumming of the rain has washed away all thought, all worry, all sense of time. Your body feels heavy and deeply relaxed, anchored to the iron bench by a pleasant, comforting gravity. Your hands rest limply in your lap, your head leans back against the cool metal, and your breathing is now so slow, so quiet, it is almost imperceptible. You are not asleep, but you are not truly awake. You are floating in the peaceful space between, a state of pure, restful awareness. The glasshouse has become a vessel, a ship of tranquility, sailing on an endless ocean of rain, and you are its sole, peaceful passenger. There is no past, no future. There is only the soft tapping on the glass, the deep, radiant warmth, and the sweet, earthy breath of the air. You feel your consciousness dissolving, spreading out from your body to fill the entire space, merging with the green leaves, the humid air, and the falling rain, becoming one with this perfect, protected world. The boundary between you and the greenhouse, between inside and outside your own mind, simply fades away into a gentle, quiet haze of perfect peace. The fine, cool stream of water whispers from the long, slender spout of your copper watering can, a delicate silver thread catching the diffuse grey light of the afternoon. You guide its path with a slow, steady hand, the muscles in your arm holding the weight of the water with a familiar, practiced ease. The water falls not upon the soil just yet, but first upon the broad, newly settled leaves of the maidenhair fern, its fronds a delicate architecture of vibrant green. Each tiny droplet lands with an almost imperceptible patter, a sound far softer and more intimate than the grand symphony of the rain upon the glass roof above. You watch, mesmerized, as the water beads for a moment, perfect little spheres of liquid crystal clinging to the waxy surface of the leaves, magnifying the intricate network of veins beneath. Then, as if yielding to a silent command, the droplets begin their slow, graceful journey downwards. They slide along the gentle curves of the leaflets, merging with one another, tracing the path of least resistance down the dark, wiry stems. One drop hesitates at the very tip of a frond, swelling, shimmering, holding the entire world of the glasshouse in its tiny, convex reflection, a miniature world of green and grey, of glass and rain. It hangs there for a long, quiet moment, a pendulum marking a second of perfect stillness, before finally letting go, falling with a soft, satisfying plink onto the dark, waiting soil below. You move the spout in a slow, circular motion, allowing the water to kiss the leaves of another frond, and another, watching the same gentle cascade repeat itself, a miniature waterfall reenacted a dozen times over. This is not a hurried task of irrigation, but a final, quiet welcome. It is a blessing for the roots now nestled in their new home, a promise of life and sustenance. The sound of the water trickling through the leaves is like a natural lullaby, a melody played on living instruments, and it weaves itself seamlessly into the ever-present, percussive hum of the rain outside. Your shoulders, which you hadn't even realized were tense, begin to drop. Your breathing, which had been unconsciously matched to the rhythm of your work, now slows, deepening, finding a new, more peaceful cadence. The scent of the water mingling with the rich peaty soil rises to meet you, a clean and elemental perfume that speaks of growth, of patience, of the deep, quiet work of the earth. It is a scent of profound comfort, a fragrance that grounds you completely in this moment, in this peaceful, solitary world you have curated. Now, you tilt the copper can just a little further, and the stream of water bypasses the leaves, falling directly onto the bed of soil around the fern's base. The sound changes instantly, from the soft patter on foliage to a deeper, more absorbent whisper. Shh! The dark, loamy mixture of peat and moss and good country earth drinks in the moisture greedily, the colour darkening from a dusty charcoal to a deep, saturated black. You see tiny air bubbles fizz to the surface and pop, a sign that the water is finding every hidden pocket, every thirsty particle, settling the soil gently but firmly around the intricate web of roots you so carefully placed. There is no runoff, no wasted drop. You have given it just enough, a perfect measure learned over countless seasons spent in this very glass house. The sound is deeply satisfying, a muffled, absorbent hiss that seems to draw all the tension from the air, from your body, from your mind. It is the sound of thirst being quenched, of a fundamental need being met, and with each passing moment you feel your own inner tensions dissolving, washed away by this simple, elemental act. With the task complete, you slowly, deliberately lower the copper watering can and place it on the worn, scarred surface of the old oak potting bench. The base of the can, cool and damp, meets the wood with a soft, resonant thud, a sound of finality, a full stop at the end of a long and gentle sentence. And with that sound, all your work for the day is done. There is nothing more to pot, nothing more to prune, nothing more to water. There are no more duties, no more obligations, no more tasks waiting for your attention. There is only you, and the rain, and the quiet breathing life of the plants all around you. You stand for a long moment, your leather-gloved hands resting on the edge of the bench, and you allow a slow, deep breath to fill your lungs, and then release it in a long, quiet sigh. It is a sigh of completion, of satisfaction, a release of all effort. The warmth from the heated flagstones beneath your feet seems to rise up through the soles of your boots, a gentle, persistent heat that soothes the ache in your legs and back, an ache you were only vaguely aware of until this very moment of stillness. Your gaze lifts from the newly settled fern and drifts without focus across the vast verdant expanse of the glass house. It is a kingdom of green, a library of living things, each with its own story, its own silent existence. To your left, the orchid house section is a riot of impossible colour and form, even in the muted, rainy light. Phalaenopsis moths seem to hover in mid-air, their petals of purest white and softest lilac suspended on invisible stems. The more exotic Paphiopedilum, the slipper orchids, hold their strange, pouch-like flowers with a regal, almost haughty posture, their waxy surfaces dappled with maroon and cream. The air from that corner carries a different fragrance, a sweet, almost intoxicating perfume that layers itself over the earthy scent of the damp soil, a complex and heady blend that feels wonderfully decadent and luxurious. You don't need to move towards them. Their scent travels to you, a gentle offering on the warm, humid air. Beyond the orchids, rows upon rows of ferns of every imaginable shape and size create a tapestry of intricate texture. The feathery fronds of the asparagus ferns create a soft, cloud-like haze of green, while the tougher, more architectural leaves of the bird's nest ferns spiral out from their centres like giant, living shuttles. Droplets of condensation, formed by the meeting of the warm interior air and the rain-chilled glass, cling to the tips of 1,000 leaves, each one a tiny jewel, a perfect, trembling prism. The light filtering through the rain-streaked glass roof is transformed. It is no longer the clear, sharp light of a bright day, but a soft, diffuse, almost submarine glow. It smooths away all the hard edges of the world, bathing everything in a uniform wash of gentle, pearlescent grey-green. The iron framework of the great glass dome, usually so stark and severe, now appears softened, its black lines blurred as if drawn with charcoal. The world outside has disappeared, erased by the steady, hypnotic rhythm of the rain, which falls not as individual drops, but as a single continuous, shimmering curtain of water. You are enclosed, cocooned, held in a world entirely separate from the one outside, a world where the only clock is the slow, patient unfolding of a leaf, and the only sound is the gentle, percussive heartbeat of the rain. Your eyelids feel heavy now, weighted down by the warmth and the quiet and the sheer sensory fullness of this place. You feel a deep and profound sense of peace settle over you, a feeling of being exactly where you are supposed to be, with nothing required of you but to simply be. Your thoughts, which may have been racing with the concerns of the day, have slowed to a gentle, meandering drift. They rise and fall like the soft humidity in the air, without urgency, without destination. The rhythmic, all-encompassing sound of the rain on the glass has become a form of white noise, a dense, layered blanket of sound that muffles the outside world and quiets the inner one. It is a sound that has no beginning and no end, a constant, steady presence that is both immense and incredibly intimate. It fills your ears, your head, your entire awareness, until there is no room for anything else. In a corner of the glass house, nestled between a towering fiddle-leaf fig and a collection of potted camellias, sits an old, forgotten gardener's chair. It is made of simple weathered teak, its surface silvered by years of sun and moisture, a quiet sentinel that has witnessed countless seasons pass within these glass walls. You feel an undeniable pull towards it, a desire to fully surrender to the stillness that has been growing inside you. Slowly, you peel off your heavy leather work gloves, finger by finger, and lay them on the bench next to the watering can. Your hands feel strangely light and sensitive without them, and you rub your palms together, feeling the faint grit of soil still clinging to your skin. Then, you untie the coarse hessian strings of your apron and let it fall onto the bench as well. You are shedding the last vestiges of your work, of your role as a gardener, and becoming simply an observer, a quiet presence among the green and growing things. You walk towards the chair, your footsteps unnaturally loud on the stone flags in a sudden absence of your own working sounds. Each step is deliberate, unhurried. The air parts before you and closes behind you, thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming flowers, a tangible velvety medium that you move through. You reach the chair and turn, lowering yourself into its familiar, solid embrace. The old wood creaks softly in protest, a sound like a gentle groan of contentment as it takes your weight. You lean back, and your head comes to rest against the high, smooth back of the chair. A long, slow sigh escapes your lips, and with it the last of any lingering tension drains from your neck and shoulders, flowing down your arms, down your spine, down your legs, and out through the soles of your feet, where it is absorbed by the warm, waiting earth beneath the stone. You are completely supported, held safely and securely. There is nothing left for you to do but rest. From this new, lower vantage point, the glass house transforms once again. You are no longer standing above the plants, tending to them, but sitting among them, one of them. You are at eye level with the broad, waxy leaves of the camellias, their surfaces so glossy they reflect the soft grey light, like pools of dark water. You notice for the first time the intricate network of fine reddish hairs that grow along the stems of a nearby begonia, a detail lost from a standing height. Your focus narrows, becoming microscopic. You find your gaze drawn to a single pane of glass directly in front of you. A large drop of condensation has formed near the top of the pane and has begun a slow, meandering journey downwards. It moves with an agonizing slowness, hesitating, changing direction as it encounters invisible specks of dust or imperfections in the old glass. It leaves a faint, silvery trail in its wake, a temporary map of its journey. You watch it, your breathing so slow and quiet you can almost imagine you are holding your breath as it travels the length of the pane, a tiny drama unfolding in a world of profound quiet. It is the only thing that is moving in your field of vision, and you follow its path with an intensity that leaves no room for any other thought. The rain continues its ceaseless, gentle drumming on the roof and walls, a sound that has by now become as natural and as necessary as the beating of your own heart. In fact, you notice that the rhythm of your heart has slowed to match the steady, lulling cadence of the rain. Thump-thump, patter-patter, thump-thump, patter-patter. Your chest rises and falls in a slow, deep and even rhythm, each breath drawing in the warm, humid, life-giving air, and each exhalation releasing you further and further into a state of deep and effortless relaxation. Your limbs feel wonderfully heavy, filled with a pleasant, leaden warmth, as if they are sinking gently into the chair, into the stone floor, into the very foundations of the earth itself. It is a feeling of being anchored, of being held so securely that you could simply let go of everything and drift. Your eyes, which have been fixed on that single drop of water, begin to lose their focus. The edges of the world begin to soften and blur. The intricate shapes of the fern fronds and the sharp outlines of the terracotta pots dissolve into a general impression of green and earthy red. The soft grey light seems to throb gently in time with the rain, a slow, hypnotic pulse that washes over you in gentle waves. The sounds of the glass house become layered, a rich tapestry of quiet noises. There is the dominant, percussive hum of the rain on the glass, the primary rhythm of this sanctuary. But beneath that, you can begin to discern other, more subtle sounds. The soft, infrequent drip of water from a large leaf onto the stone floor somewhere behind you. The almost inaudible rustle of a frond as it brushes against its neighbour, moved by a current of warm air rising from the floor. The faint, distant creak of the great house as it settles, a sound you feel more as a vibration through the floor than something you actually hear. All of these sounds weave together, creating a complex living silence, a silence that is not empty, but full, rich, and deeply comforting. You close your eyes, not because you decide to, but because they can no longer bear the weight of staying open. The darkness behind your eyelids is not black, but a deep, warm, velvety red, the colour of the light filtering through your closed skin. And in this darkness, the sounds and smells of the glass house become even more vivid, more potent. The scent of the orchids is a swirl of purple and white in your mind. The smell of the damp earth is a feeling of deep foundational brown, a sense of being rooted and safe. The sound of the rain is no longer just a sound. It is a physical sensation, a gentle, continuous vibration that you feel across the entire surface of your skin. A million tiny fingertips drumming a rhythm of deep, deep peace upon you. Your mind, now untethered from the visual world, begins to drift freely. Images and feelings float by like clouds on a slow breeze. The memory of the cool, smooth feel of the copper watering can in your hands. The sight of the water beading on a perfect green leaf. The satisfying, absorbent hiss of the water meeting the dry soil. These are not active memories, but gentle echoes, fading impressions that ripple through your consciousness and then dissolve, leaving only a feeling of peace in their wake. Your body is now so heavy, so deeply relaxed, that you can scarcely feel it at all. You are aware only of warmth, of a gentle rhythmic pulsing, and of the profound, unshakable feeling of safety. You are in a cocoon of glass and iron, sheltered from a world that has long since faded from your awareness. The gentle rain washes the world clean, and the sound of it washes your mind clean, rinsing away the day, the week, the year, leaving only this perfect, timeless present. The warm, humid air you breathe is the breath of a sleeping, living world, and as you breathe with it, you join its slumber. Your own breathing is now so slow, so shallow, so effortless, that it is almost imperceptible, the gentle rise and fall of a deep and untroubled tide. You are drifting now, floating on a sea of quiet. The boundaries between your body and the chair, between the air and your skin, between the sound of the rain and the silence in your mind, are all beginning to dissolve. Everything is becoming one continuous, warm, gentle, and peaceful existence. The rain itself seems to be slowing, the drumming on the glass becoming softer, more intermittent. The dense, percussive roar has subsided into a gentle, sporadic tapping, as if the sky itself is growing tired, settling down for the night. Each tap is a soft, round, gentle sound, a final reminder of the shelter that surrounds you. Drip, drop. A final few droplets make their way down the leaves and fall onto the soil. A final, quiet punctuation mark at the end of this long, peaceful day. The silence that grows between these last few sounds is deeper, more profound than any quiet you have felt before. It is a silence that holds all the peace of the rain that has passed, a silence that is pregnant with rest. The warmth from the floor remains, a constant gentle presence, a bedrock of comfort upon which you can build your deepest sleep. The scent of the earth and the flowers lingers in the air, a final sweet lullaby for the senses. You are safe. You are warm. You are at peace. There is nowhere else to be, nothing else to do but to let go completely and allow the gentle, quiet darkness to carry you away into a long, deep, and restorative sleep. Rest now. Sleep now.